Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Red Helix partner webinar. It's great to see so many people joining us today. I'm going to be speaking for the next 30 minutes just to discuss some history about Red Helix, our client experience, the capabilities that we can offer, what we offer to partners, and then we're joined as well by an independent consultant, Phil Baker from Amaya Technologies, who I'll introduce later on, who's going to provide us with an in-person testimonial about working with Red Helix. If there's any questions at any point during the webinar, please do reach out via the Q&A. You'll be able to find it in the menu, and I'll endeavour to answer your questions as they crop up. I've got a little box here that hopefully they should pop into. Okay, so without further ado, my name's Tom Exby. I'm head of cybersecurity at Red Helix. I've been here for about 2 years. I manage our partner program as well as our product portfolio. And so it's great to have you all on the call. So first of all, just an overview of the history of Red Helix. We were founded in 1984 as Phoenix Datacom, and we spent our early years delivering network security and performance monitoring to banks, telcos, and other large enterprise, where we still have some very loyal customers today, over 25 years later on. Throughout our history, we have slowly grown and adapted as technologies changed, moving into the cyberspace in 2005. Building our cyber lab in 2013 and building our SOC in 2018, which is really where we started to deliver managed cybersecurity services. We went through a rebrand and a buyout in 2021-22, and that's where Red Helix was born. And since then, we've been investing and growing rapidly, culminating in our most recent acquisition of our consulting arm, Risk Crew, in 2025. Bringing us to the point where we're able to deliver the full spectrum of cybersecurity capability. Something that I wanted to touch on next was our principles of looking after our clients and the journey that we like to take our clients through as their relationship matures and grows with Red Helix. And we split this down into 3 phases, and they're not uncommon phrases, but we think that they work really well for how we like to explain the journey that we take our clients on. First of all, evaluate. And this is where we really go through a in-depth understanding of the client's situation through their security ambitions, their objectives, and their estate to really understand how we're able to support them, what they're trying to achieve, and provide them with some prioritized actions and the ways forward to help them reach their objectives and achieve what they want to. And we can do this through series of discussions and assessments that can support our work and our analysis going forward. We see this as being very heavily led by clients, but also in this circumstance, when we're talking about working with partners, it's absolutely, and you can see the 2 people in the graphic represented, it's absolutely alongside partners. And we see this as something that can really complement what you would be trying to achieve with your partner and with your client, and helping you enhance the ROI that you're able to demonstrate, especially with some technology-led assessments that we can support you with. Once we've gone through the thorough evaluation phase, we then move to execute. And this is where Red Helix are able to utilize our talented workforce in our security operations center to deliver 24/7 monitoring from Aylesbury. And we here work very hard to deliver an excellent service, operating tools, monitoring tools, also reporting and giving excellent feedback to the client. And this is where Red Helix earns its reputation. While we're delivering an excellent service under the execute phase, you can imagine that there's lots of moving into the 3rd phase, which is evolve. And this is where we take the security metrics, the understanding and the deductions of these metrics from the tools that we've deployed and the activity that we've seen in someone's environment. And we work to help them understand how the situation is and the threat landscape is impacting their environment, and help them understand that positive change that they can make based on those threats and roadmap against their security objectives, which moves back into phase one, where we continue to evaluate how changes can be made and how improvements can be made. And so this is a cycle of continuous improvement. As mentioned at the start, this is when we work with partners, this is alongside partners to help you enhance the experience that your end client is receiving, sorry, with the advantage or leveraging the advantage of the Red Helix Security Operating Center and our ability to operate security tools. And that's where it all links together. So it was important to mention at this point the capabilities that Red Helix can deliver alongside a partnership and to your end clients. And really, we can mapped against the NIST framework with the newly added govern element. We can deliver the full cybersecurity capability. And this is integrated, supported, and managed, configured to the client specifications. So depending on the maturity journey of the client, depending on the requirements that come out from that evaluate phase that we spoke about earlier on, all depends on where we like to start, what we would recommend, and how we would prioritize actions, all alongside the partner that we're working with, really to enhance their reputation and the ROI that they are looking to demonstrate alongside their client. We'll also use some enterprise grade technology. So we mentioned it at the bottom, some of the partners and vendors that we work with. We've done the hard work here, which is integrating and overcoming those technical challenges that many businesses face in making their security stack work, reducing visibility gaps, and really ensuring that they've got a comprehensive solution. And this is where working with an MSSP can really bring an advantage, because those members of our SOC that operate these tools on a daily basis, that deploy these tools on many different environments for all our clients, have got a really deep understanding of how these tools work, how to get the best from them, but also how to deploy them expediently and get the most from the tools, and advise the client on being able to get the most from their investment. So that was really just a quick overview of the Red Helix capabilities on that slide. And this is where we link to some of the outcomes. And you'll notice, before I get into those, a paste on the right-hand side of the slide, which is briefly giving a glimpse of our cyber risk quantification tool. And this is a tool that takes cybersecurity metrics from the tools that I mentioned on the previous slide in real time, analyzes the metrics that are coming through holistically. From all the tools, looking at all of the different metrics, provides tracking and then guidance on actions, posture, and you can see some test data that we've put into the tool on the right-hand side. This is going live on the 1st of April. We're really pleased to be bringing it to market. It's really exciting because it's not only going to support Red Helix in demonstrating value, it's also going to support the partners that we work with in demonstrating value, because these are the output from the risk platform is in plain English. It could be delivered in board packs. It could be delivered up the chain of command to demonstrate to people's bosses that the benefit that they are bringing. And you can see how, just a very quick example on the right-hand side where posture score could be improving, vulnerabilities can be reducing, and what that means to the overall posture of the business and how that is reducing the risk of a cyber incident. So again, as I mentioned on the outcomes that we really look to achieve when we're working with clients, is giving them that visibility. And you will have seen on that previous slide that we use CrowdStrike, and we think that CrowdStrike is a really excellent tool for providing that overall visibility of a client's estate. It's one of the things that fundamentally as a data business, CrowdStrike is really proud of being able to provide that universal view of what's happening in an environment and take that telemetry to understand the security implications of it. It's also really great and supports our SOC analysts in providing remediation, prioritized remediation advice and guidance to clients. Again, alongside partners, we're able to provide this to support uh, the way that they approach advising against remediation. It's always a tricky conversation, especially as a from an MSSP to a client or even from a partner to a client. And so that we've got the tools and the expertise to be able to provide clear guidance on that. Due to our 24/7 SOC, it's the decision making, supporting decision making with that guidance that we mentioned on the previous point, as well as reducing likelihood and impact of major incidents through, and this can be demonstrated through posture scores, through risk analysis from our cyber risk platform, and ultimately enhancing security and enhancing businesses onto that maturity journey. So moving on, that we've got some how we support partners. So it was really important that we then discuss the benefits of the relationship with our partners. We really love working with partners, and that'll become apparent as we speak, as I provide some testimonials later on, but also we speak to Phil, who's live on the call. How we support you. So in terms of the bullets on the screen, I think the headlines really is time saving. The technical evaluation has been done. That's where we have earned our money through understanding, integrating the technology and the vendors that we've got, but also managing those vendor relationships, which any of you who have interacted with cybersecurity vendors writ large will understand is usually a minefield. And you end up having to become pricing engineers, if anything, to understand how to take their products to market. Well, we've been able to do all of that, and we've got very good systems to be able to provide quotes and run onboarding, run assessments, etc., based around the great reputation that we've built with our vendor network. Our SOC's 24/7, so we've got a 24/7 extension of the team, and this works really well with partners because there's always that reach back to be able to get advice based on what you're seeing within the platform, but also someone that is constantly monitoring your network to be able, and that's us doing the heavy lifting, and anyone that's run a SOC will know how intensive that can be, and if we can alleviate that from partners and clients, then that's a real value that we believe that we add to you as an extension of your team. And I think the previous 2 points is the bedrock of what creates a really brilliant client experience. We're removing some of the friction, and so we aim to be able to strengthen your relationship with your clients based on the fact that you've introduced a trusted partner that has provided an excellent service. And going back to the evolutionary cycle that we take our clients through, we've really enhanced the client's maturity through that evolutionary cycle, and that really has your partner face on it. We're doing the heavy lifting to support you in delivering that for the clients. And needless to say, there's volume-based discounts because MSSP, we're buying in a larger pool. So you can generally find a more efficient, we're a more efficient way of buying software through us, but also then we've got us delivering our service. And then we've got an excellent marketing team that deliver events throughout the year. We also have podcasts and things like that, which we really love our partners to be involved in. So that's the offer that we provide to our partners, and needless to say, this we as an MSSP really enjoy working with partners, and we really have a good relationship with the partners that we work with, and this has been highlighted by testimonials that we've had from a variety of different industries, as you see on the slide: legal, healthcare, construction. We've also done well with automotive and industry. There really isn't a vertical that we've not dipped our finger in briefly and had success. But we're very fortunate on the call to be joined by an independent consultant, Phil Baker from Amaya Technology, who has partnered with Red Helix and deployed Red Helix technology to one of his clients And what better testimonial of working with Red Helix than someone live on the call? So, Phil, it's really great to welcome you to the discussion. Thank you very much for joining us today. And I'd like to just kick off this quick chat with a question. So, what situation or gap did you what made you realize that you wanted to introduce a client to managed service provider?
It was quite self-evident that they didn't have they didn't have really security maturity, so they didn't have a security team with dedicated skill. They had some alerts coming in that weren't being triaged, but they also didn't have any other indicators of misconfiguration. It was a large multi-cloud environment, lots of stuff going on, and no one there to really pick it up. And the options obviously being build an internal team that can support 24/7, which would have been possible because they were a 360-degree round the globe business. However, it wasn't financially sensible and or go out to partner.
So you mentioned multi-cloud environment there. I mean, that's going to be quite a complicated cybersecurity situation with sort of multiple layers. You know, how did you how did you imagine an MSSP was going to reduce the complexity for you, but also for the client in that environment?
So multi-cloud in often in circumstances like this, there are different teams having ownership of different clouds as well. So in this particular instance, and it's not the only time I've seen it recently, the IT team owned the Azure cloud, the digital team owned the AWS cloud, and there was other stuff floating around. So actually kind of bringing it together in a unified way and kind of cutting through internal politics, it would have been very, very tough to sort that internally. So you really wanted something that had the pre-existing configurations that you could quickly bring in and ingest data and understand what good or bad might look like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated situation in that sense, especially when you've got those multiple teams managing different parts of the cloud environment. To have a single point of contact for security, I guess, is really going to enhance that and reduce complexity. So you've evaluated the situation, you've understood and come to the realization that a partner's the way to go. What were you looking for from an MSSP? What's that evaluation criteria that you were looking for? And what made Red Helix stand out?
So I looked at three options. So carry on with Defender and Microsoft Sentinel based. Look at Sentinel One and another provider for the vSOC, and then a CrowdStrike based alternative. Now, the main criteria was how it performs across the entire infrastructure and how easy it is to get in. The coverage levels, the cost, and do they understand us as a business? Do we have someone who we can phone up uh, and make them understand? If you've got your own internal one with Microsoft, you're not going to have much luck phoning Microsoft. So you want a partner in front of that. So those were the general criteria.
And in terms of the criteria that you went to market with, what you were looking for, what made Red Helix stand out, from those initial.
So the two bits primarily it was technology and people. So technology, CrowdStrike, for the environment we were looking at, because it was multi-cloud, there was you wanted something that was really best of breed or up there in monitoring each of those clouds rather than kind of heavily focused on something else. and obviously CrowdStrike is always top right in your Gartners and that sort of thing. The other element was people who understood the business. So it's back to it's not using the word throat to choke is the wrong expression. It sounds negative, but yes, having the ability to speak to someone who truly understands the business, understands what's important to you.
Excellent that we were able to stand out in that way. I think what I want to talk about next is that client journey that we discussed earlier on in the slides. So how did you find that? I mentioned the evaluate, the execute, and the evolve phase. How did that work for you and the client?
So evaluate, we didn't really have much history. So it wasn't going from something to something, it was going from virtually nothing to something. So a lot of that evaluation was done internally based on what we need, rather than an external partner beyond myself to define that. When it was looking at the procurement side, obviously cost and how it can be delivered were very important. So cost-wise, a lot of the Microsoft licensing they had just wasn't being used. And there wasn't an appetite within the business to use a lot of the functionality within those expensive Microsoft licenses. So looking at it in the round as a kind of full ROI, CrowdStrike became the most cost-effective of the top right players for it, because of the nature of its modularity, allowed us to really get good protection on the bits that we knew were vulnerable, were exposed to the outside world, and there was a business appetite to actually invest the time to protect. And in that way, I'm thinking obviously a multi-cloud and local device protection. So and then when it came into execution, a couple of bits I really liked. One bit was that we didn't go at the speed that probably I would have liked and you would have liked. However, we didn't get any pressure to kind of tap in wristwatches to say, your engagement your onboarding engagement lasts 2 months and then we're walking away. There was none of that, and it took a bit longer because it was global environment and we felt supported through it. The other piece was the amount of information that came back because of all the indicators of misconfiguration and indicators of attack that you were now picking up, that allowed us to say, oh, actually, that's been wrong and a big risk for quite a while, and now we know about it and we can remediate and prioritize correctly. But also, this funny thing has been sat there for years that nobody knew about, which we really don't like. And as time went through, probably over the first 3 months, there were quite a few individual peculiarities which could have been genuine risks, and I think some were, which were actually picked up along the way. So it wasn't just a point in time looking forwards. We got a lot of history about where we were before as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things when we deploy CrowdStrike, because of the visibility that it gives us, it really opens up people's eyes to what's happening within their systems, what sort of niggling issues are surfacing from the underneath, and I think it gives that excellent visibility that people are really craving with their security stack, and we hear a lot of people talking about it as a great product from that. I mean, you were looking at other technology providers. So you mentioned Sentinel and Microsoft earlier. What stood out for you about CrowdStrike that made that decision straightforward?
Against Microsoft, it was total cost of ownership and coverage, and against Sentinel-1, it was coverage and maturity. So in a specific use case, I can absolutely see why someone would be entirely Microsoft focused, because if they're sweating their licenses, absolutely everything exists existing there and they're already committed to using that, then moving to a different partner would represent additional spend. However, very few businesses are like that nowadays, or certainly SMEs. They have stuff dotted everywhere. And with Sentinel-1, again, it's great technology, but it's really good at some of the bits it does, but it doesn't have the wide coverage and the vSOC sat behind it. It couldn't pull in the breadth of information.
And I guess, part of the relationship with Red Helix, it's not just about the technology, it's about the service that we provide over the top of it. So, you did mention earlier briefly about going live and the first couple of months. Like, how have you found that service, and what's the benefit that you've drawn from it?
I think it was the collaborative nature of the delivery, and also because we were going from nothing to something. It's about having conversations that are kind of grown proportional with the people that you're onboarding. There are some people in information security that tend to be absolutists and will tell you off rather than say, guys, let's look at this. These are the things we touch. Let's bring you up to maturity, and maybe from what we've seen, you should consider this, and this. So kind of adding consultative value along the way. But I think it was supportive and patient.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. It's been great chatting, Phil. I've got one last question before we open up to any questions from the audience. And this is really an important one from our perspective. So, for the other consultants or independents on the call, especially for people that are concerned about their valued relationship with their client, quite rightly, why is Red Helix a partner you trust with your professional relationships?
It's, well, as I've kind of mentioned before, it's people and technology. So the technology, to be fair, when I saw it, it became clear that it was ahead of the other stuff we were looking at. Now, technology is great, but if you don't trust the people who are delivering it to you, then it's useless. So that, along with the kind of partnership that we had with them, and the fact that we got stuff that was potentially above and beyond, rather than just here's a snapshot. It looked at everything, our history, what was going on at the time they took over. So it's not just a service which looks at oh, you've got this indicator attack and this new indicator attack on the outside of the perimeter, and the kind of fairly predictable stuff. It's more of a kind of holistic service, but generally it's down to it. As everybody knows, it's about having people you trust.
And I think, when we talk security, trust has always got to be at the heart of all of this. And I think I really value partners that use us, because we recognize that it's all around that trusted relationship. You have a trusted relationship with a client partner. You must preserve that at all costs. Therefore, you have to have trust in partners that you introduce into that relationship to support the end result, to bring the outcomes, etc. Really appreciate the honesty on that one. Phil, thank you very much for providing and answering those questions. It's great to have you being able to talk so openly and honestly in front of the audience about your experience with Red Helix. We're coming up to time. If anything in this webinar has stirred thoughts within the audience, if there's no questions that are happening now, please do reach out to anyone at Red Helix, either via email contact that you've already had or via LinkedIn. Make sure you get in touch to get the answers to your questions. We'd love to hear from any partners that want to know more about the offer that we have to partners, our technology stack, anything that's on your mind. It would be great to have those discussions. So thank you very much for joining. The recording will be placed probably on YouTube, but you'll see it come out through our website and through our social media channels. And it leaves me to say, Phil, thank you very much for joining us as well.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye.